This is Unit 8, Lesson 1, Learning Target. I can add and subtract polynomials by combining like terms. And say new unit. And the do now just says combine like terms. So I'll give you a little bit of time to do this. Just combine the like terms. You're not solving for anything. There's no equal sign. So go ahead, do 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we'll come back with the answers. Press pause now. Okay, so we have number 1 is 19t, just combining the like terms, 6t plus 13t. And then number 2 is 2b plus 9b, which is 11b, and then the negative 6 just comes down. And then you have 4n squared minus 7n squared, and that is negative 3n squared. For number 4, you have the x squareds here. So what is happening is that you are combining the x squared, so that is 5x squared. And then if you look, there's only one other x, so it's minus 12x. There's nothing to combine that with, so that's negative 12x, and you're just going to put that there. And then also the next thing is that there's a negative 2, which you really can't combine with anything else. There are no other like terms, that have just numbers, and that is the final answer, 5x squared minus 12x minus 2. And that is it. So on this page, there's a lot going on. Just a little bit of polynomial vocabulary. A monomial is one term. It's an expression that is a number, variable, or product of a number and variable. So examples of a monomial or monomials are 12y, negative 5x squared y. We multiply all of that, that equals a monomial. And then c divided by 3 is a monomial. A degree of a monomial is the sum of the exponents of the variables. All right, so just remember, you're not talking about regular numbers, you're talking about the sum of the exponents of the variables. A non-zero constant has a degree of 0, and a number 0 has no degree. So I'm talking about a 2/3 x is the first degree, because you're just counting this exponent right here as the first degree. You're talking about a degree of 1. And then this has 5th degree because it's x squared and y to the 3rd. The 7 does not count. The exponent 7 does not count. So x squared, y to the 3rd, 2 plus 3, that's 5. And this is exactly what we're talking about, a number here, where it says the non-zero constant has a degree of 0. All right, so this has a degree of 0, negative 4. And remember, the number 0 has no degree, and that's why this says none. For e, this is the 6th degree. All right, so if you were just saying, all right, this is y to the 6th power, so you're just saying, all right, there's nothing else to add it to, 6th degree. Going down a little bit here, there's some practice. There's a lot of questions there. I'll do the first couple with you, and then you could go ahead and do the rest, and you can press pause. All right, so for this first one, you have negative 3, a to the 4th, b to the 1st. And just remember, every time you do not see an exponent next to a variable, that exponent is 1. So to name the degree of this monomial, you have to add the exponents of the variables. So 4 plus 1, so this would be 5, the fifth degree. Right? And the second one, again, we're only talking about the exponents of the variables. So I'm just going to put a 1 here just to remind myself. And then you have 3 plus 4 plus 1. So that's 8. Go ahead and see if you could finish the rest. Press pause now. Alrighty, so here are the answers. Went over the first two. The third one is 4p to the first, q to the first, r to the first. That's the third degree. 6y to the first power is the first degree. 7 has a 0 degree. Negative k to the seventh, that's the seventh degree. Negative 9, s to the first, t to the third, that's 1 plus 3, fourth degree. Negative x squared is second degree. G to the first, h to the fifth is the sixth degree. 8m to the third, n to the sixth is the ninth degree, 6 plus 3. And then negative 5 x to the third, remember, y to the first, and z to the first, that's the fifth degree, 3 plus 1 plus 1. And c to the first, t to the first, the second degree. Hopefully you got all of those correct. And there are no questions. Going on to the third slide. A polynomial is a monomial, or the sum or difference of two or more monomials. The monomials within a polynomial becomes its terms. Also, a polynomial cannot have a variable in its denominator. So for example, 3 over z is not a polynomial. So just did a little bit of a example. The degree of a polynomial is determined only by the monomial term with the largest exponent. So not the sum of the exponents of the variables. So this is a little bit different. So the degree of a polynomial is different than the degree of a monomial, right? Even though the degree of a monomial, you add up the exponents, you don't do the same thing with the degree of a polynomial. So it's always the largest exponent of the monomial term. So for in this example, you have 3x to the fourth plus 5x squared minus 7x plus 1. So the standard form, you would have to list 3x to the fourth first, because that has you're listing all the terms from greatest to least as far as the monomial degrees. All right, so that's standard, it's called standard form. And the fourth degree, this is a fourth degree polynomial. All right, you're not adding the exponents. All right, and so also a binomial is a two-term polynomial. I know there's a lot going on here, and a trinomial is a three-term. Just think about a bicycle, a tricycle. Actually, not a bicycle. A bicycle is the two-term, two wheels. You can think about a bike with two wheels. And then a tricycle has three. Tripod. All right, is a three-term polynomial. All right, I'll do a couple with you, and then you could go on and do the rest on your own. All right, move this up just a little bit. Okay, so it says write each in standard form, and then name the degree. an example of fourth degree polynomial. So first we're going to name the polynomial. And obviously this monomial has the largest, the highest degree. So that's what the polynomial is. So this is a fourth degree polynomial. All right. So you still have to put it in order now. So to put this in order, you're going to talk about negative 7x to the fourth. And then the next one would be, sorry, let me get that out. Negative 5x squared. And then a plus 2x. And then the minus 10. And you see how I did that? Basically rearranged it. Sorry. So basically you're going to arrange it where you're just arranging the exponents from greatest to least. And that's what I'm writing down right now. All right, so the first thing that I went for is this 4. So this whole thing, this negative 7x to the fourth power, that goes down here. And then this negative 5x squared goes next. And then this positive 2x goes next. And then finally, this negative 10 goes last. So that is standard form, and the degree is the highest, is the greatest exponent of the monomial, of one of the monomials, and that's 4. So number 2 is 4 minus 3x to the third plus x. Looking at the greatest degree of a monomial, that is this. So this is a third degree polynomial. And then I have to go ahead and write it in standard form. See if you could do that before I do. So obviously, negative 3x to the third would go first. Then I'm looking for the second, which there is no second power. And then there is x to the first. And then finally, plus 4. Just remember the sign of the number is before the number itself. So you see this right here? This is a negative 3x to the third. This is a positive x. This is a positive 4. So go ahead and do the rest on your own. And press pause now. Okay, all of these answers are here. Number 3 is the fifth degree, polynomial. It's negative 8x to the fifth minus 6x minus 10. I rearranged it from 5 to 1. To minus 10. And then number 4 is a fifth degree polynomial. We have negative 7x to the fifth minus 3x minus 10. By the way, I had like terms here. This is negative 5x plus 2x, and that's where I got my negative 3x. And I combined those like terms. And I also combine these like terms right here. You have 2x plus 5x. 2x plus 5x is 7x, and that's where I got this. But this is a second degree polynomial because of this right here. And you have negative 3x squared plus 7x. And then I do distributive property for number 6 first. You always have to get rid of those parentheses first. And you do 8x times 2, which is 16x. And then you get 8x times 3x, and you get 24x squared. And that means this is a second degree polynomial. And I combine the 3x plus 16x, and that's 19x. And I rearranged, I put the 24x squared first because it has to be in standard form. Right, here's some Regents questions. Give it a try before I give you the answers. All right, you press pause now. Okay, if you pick 4 for both, so you're correct. I'm just going to go over that with you. The expression of the 5th degree. So looking at something that has a 5th degree, this is out immediately. That is 7th degree. This is out immediately. This has the 6th degree. All right, 5th degrees, leading coefficient. That's the number that it starts with, of 7. The leading coefficient has to be 7. That leading coefficient is 7. This leading coefficient is 6. This is out, and that's basically it. All right, number 2, which polynomial has a leading coefficient of 4? Let's talk about that. All right, that's out. Leading coefficient of 4. That could be it. Leading coefficient of 4. That's not it. Leading coefficient of 4. And the reason why I'm going back here is because this should be first. So if you are writing this in standard form, it's 4x to the third plus x squared plus 2x. And that's the way that would write it in. You would write that in standard form. All right. Leading coefficient of 4, degree of 3. 4 is your answer. So now we're going to go into adding and subtracting polynomials, which is pretty easy, actually. It's just combining like terms. We have a whole bunch of steps here for you. You must get rid of the parentheses first. I like to do this as well. If there is a negative in front of the parentheses, it changes the sign operation of each term inside those parentheses. I just think of it as distributive property. You're distributing like a negative inside the parentheses, and it changes all of the signs inside the parentheses, right? But the addition wise, like if there's an addition example on this left hand side, it's just much easier to deal with. So if you have, and again, remember, we're talking about combining like terms. So I'm just gonna rewrite here. This is 2x squared minus 2. I'm taking him out of parentheses. And then plus 3x squared. And then minus 12. You notice I just took them out of parentheses. I did not change any of the signs after it. Look, if I actually did distributive property, this is kind of like a 1. All right, this is a positive. Positive times a positive is positive. It stays the same. Positive times a negative is negative. It stays the same. All right, so positive never changes anything in the middle when you have a positive in the middle. So the answer, all you have to do is combine like terms. So you have 2x squared plus the 3x squared. 2x squared plus 3x squared is 5x squared. And then a negative 2 minus 12, and you can use your calculator. All right, so if you're going to bring it up, if you really need it, a negative 2 minus 12. That's how you'd put that in. You'd get negative 14. And that would be your final answer. It's not like solving for anything. That's it. You're just combining like terms, and that's about it. On the right-hand side of your screen, the subtraction example, a little bit more difficult, a little bit, but it's the same thing except for now you have that minus sign in the middle, and now you have to be worried about this distributive property. You can't just take out a parentheses in that second set. So you're just talking about, all right, the first set, I'm just going to write it down, 5x. Nothing changes in that first set. You have 5x. You have plus 3. Then you have a negative times a positive. And that becomes, now instead of this being a positive 2x, negative times a positive is negative 2x. And then negative times another positive. And that becomes a negative 7. See, it's just like distributing a negative 1. You'll get used to it. It's something that happens a million times, where you have a negative on the outside here, and there's parentheses. It's minus this whole thing, and since it's minus this whole thing, it changes all of the signs inside that parenthesis. All right, to get everything out of parentheses, though, you have to do that distributive property. Once you do that distributive property, it becomes negative 2x and negative 7. All right, and then you have 5x minus 2x, you get 3x. And you have plus 3, positive 3, minus 7. And that's 4, negative 4. And that is your final answer. I'll do the first one with you. And then I'll take maybe the fifth one. Right. And then you can press pause and see if you can finish it up. All right. And so now let's just do this one. I'm going to take everything out of parentheses. And what I do is I really just rewrite it underneath. Some people like to put them on top of each other. I don't do that. I just rewrite it like this. And it's plus minus 7, which I don't ever like to do that. So I'm just going to put, it's a negative 7. You could put plus negative. I mean, it just doesn't make a difference. All right, so see this 3x squared? There's no other x squared, so that's what I'm going to use. I'm just going to use the 3x squared as my first term. All right, so that's out. You can even cross that out. Then see this 2x? That's the only x there. So that's a positive 2x. And that's out. And I have a 1 minus 7, which is a minus 6. And even if I kept that there, like a 1, a positive 1 plus a negative 7, it would be a negative 6. So that's your final answer right there. All right, so now we have number 5. I'm going to skip to number 5, and number 1 with you. I'm going to take this out of parentheses, so I'm going to just do the first one, 9 minus 5x, and you see this right here, that's going to change everything inside. All right, so this positive 5x will now become a negative 5x. And then negative times a positive will become a negative 9. So now I'm going to combine like terms. I have negative 5x and a negative 5x. That's negative 10x. And then I have 9 minus 9 is 0. I don't have to put anything. This is my final answer, negative 10x. All right, see if you can do the rest of them. Remember, take them out of parentheses first. Write them down. Combine like terms. You could use highlighters. You could circle the like terms. Remember, you can't add or subtract any terms that are not like terms. All right, try all 8, all 10, and come back with the answers. Press pause now. Okay, those are all the answers, starting with number 2. Just go up. It's negative 9x to the third plus 2x squared plus x minus 1. Right, remember, it has an addition sign in the middle, so all I did was take them out and then combine like terms. This one did have a minus sign right here, so this is where you have to have that negative 3x to the fourth and then negative 2x. And I messed up on that one. All right, I fixed that one. So that number 3 is negative x to the fourth plus 5x to the third minus x plus 1. All right, and this negative right here on the outside. Remember, I have to distribute, and I forgot to distribute here. I left this a positive 2x, and negative times a positive is a negative. So, and this one has no change. There's no change for this one. Going over to number 4, there's no change whatsoever. You just bring everything out of the parentheses and then combine like terms, and you get 3x to the fourth minus x squared minus 7x plus 13. And number 5 we did together, that's negative 10x. Number 6 is 6x. Again, you have this double negative, try to confuse you, but negative times negative is positive. Negative times a positive is negative. You get 2x plus 4x is 6x, and then you get minus 3. So it's 6x minus 3. And then 7, there's no parentheses, so it's a little bit easier. You just combine like terms. You get 17c plus 16, and 8 is 5x plus 8, combining like terms. And then you have 14y squared minus 9y plus 2. And there's the negative. You have to just go ahead and do distributive property, and I did. And I changed everything to the opposite sign of what it was. So then I combine like terms. There is no other x squareds, so it's 14y squared. There's no other y squareds, and there's 14y squared minus 11y, because negative 9y minus 2y is negative 9y, and then plus 2 minus 1, positive 2 minus 1 is positive 1. And same thing here, distribute that negative, and you get positive 4x, and negative times positive 25 is negative 25. You get 12x plus 4x is 16x, and then 6 minus 25 is negative 19. And that's it. So we have a couple more regions problems here. Try 1, 2, and 3, and press, and then we'll come back. Press pause now. Okay, number 1 is 3. So you're just adding it up, and then you're multiplying by 2, like a distributive property style. And when you multiply by 2, you get negative 4x squared minus 6. And then it says expressed in simplest form, number 2. And with that subtraction in the middle, then we have to distribute. You get 5x squared minus 10. For number 3, really confusing a little bit. It says subtract 6x to the second power plus 3x minus 14 from 8x squared plus 5x minus 4. So that the 8x squared plus 5x minus 4 has to come first. You're subtracting the 6x squared plus 3x minus 14 from it. So I set it up right down here, and I'm going to just combine the, before I do anything, I'm not going to combine anything yet, and I'm just going to distribute that negative. All right, so I'm just going to rewrite 8x to the second, and then the plus 5x, and then the minus 4. And it's negative times a positive, so that's negative 6x squared. It's important. And then it's negative times another positive, and that's negative 3x. And then it's negative times a negative, which is positive 14. So when you combine the like terms, you have 8x squared minus 6x squared, that's 2x squared. And then 5x minus 3x, that's plus 2x. And then negative 4 plus 14, that's plus 10. And that's your final answer. All right, be careful. Remember, like it's saying, subtract 6x squared plus 3x minus 14 from this. So it's like hint right over here. If I were to ask you to subtract 4 from 10, basically you would put the 10 first, subtracting 4 from 10. That's the way it would be set up. And it's kind of like with that example is here to help you to do number 3. Right? Try to go ahead and see if you can do the challenge. Press pause now. So the challenge, the fast finisher. The perimeter of a trapezoid is 39a minus 7. 3 sides of the 4 have the following lengths: 9a, 5a plus 1, and 17a minus 6. And they don't give you that 4th side. You know that perimeter, you have to add up all the sides. So I just added up. All right, let's see. I just put them in a row here. It's 9a plus 5a plus 17a. So if I took my calculator and just put in, let's see, some 9 plus 5 plus 17, I would get 31. So that's 31a. And then I have 1 minus 6. I don't need a calculator for that. It's negative 5. So I need it to equal this, though. So I could figure out what that 4th side is just by taking a look at it. All right, 31a plus what equals 39a? Well, 31a plus 8a. And then negative 5 plus what equals negative 7 plus a negative 2. So that's my, yeah, that's my side. 8a minus 2. That's it. A lot of different ways you can do it. I just did it that way. All right, go ahead, and this is extra practice. I'll come back with all of the answers. Just go ahead and see if you can do these. These are all extra practice. And go ahead. Press pause now. Okay, here's all of the answers. Here are the answers, and we have the first one is negative 3y plus 4. Subtraction sign in the middle. That means you have to distribute. You have negative 3x squared minus 2x. Just press pause if if I'm going too fast. Uh, this one right here is 4k squared plus 6k minus 1. And when I distributed, I got negative 2k and minus 3. And I combine like terms. This is just straight 2m squared plus m squared is 3m squared, 6m minus 5m is plus m, and then plus 7. Going down, you have subtraction sign in the middle. So that means you have to distribute first. I like to take everything out of parentheses. So you have negative times a positive, and that is negative 7a squared. Negative times a negative, that's positive 7a. Negative times a positive is negative 5. Then you just combine the negative, the 5a squared minus 7a squared. You get negative 2a squared. You get 6a plus 7a is 13a, and 2 minus 5 is negative 3. That's where I get that. This is negative again. And my final answer is 9x minus 6. Just checking my work. And you have negative, this one, double negative. Negative times negative is a positive. Negative times positive is negative. Negative times a positive is negative. Then you combine the like terms, you get 6x squared minus 2x squared, that's 4x squared. And you get x, negative x, minus 8x, that's negative 9x. 1 plus 4 is 5. That's it. Use your calculator for these because, you know, if you don't and you're a little bit, you have trouble with positive and negative sign numbers, adding them, subtracting them, then you're going to get a lot wrong with these. So you have, right, you're distributing this negative again. Negative times positive is negative. Negative times positive is negative. Negative times negative is positive. Then you combine the like terms. You get 4y squared minus 7y squared is negative 3y squared. You get 2y plus y, 3y. You get negative 8 minus 4 is negative 12. And this is just addition. So you have 6w squared minus 7w minus 6, just combining the like terms. And the same thing is addition. And you get negative 3p squared plus 2p plus 8. And that is the end of the lesson because there's no scroll. No, there's another screen here. All right, here's an exit slip. See if you can do this. Don't worry about the loose leaf to be handed in. All right, go ahead. See if you can do the exit slip. Press pause now. Well, okay, C is your answer for the exit slip. Yeah, it's addition, so you're just doing 3x squared plus 4x squared, which is 7x squared, and 6x plus 5x, which is 11x, and then negative 1 plus 9, which is 8. So C is the answer, D is not. On the loose leaf to be handed in, I said don't worry about it, but it's a square. What's the perimeter of a square with sides that measure 2x plus 3? What do you know about a square, though? That's both sides, yes, but all sides are equal. So if you were going to add up 2x plus 3, you're going to add up all 4 sides. To get the perimeter, you would just multiply by 4. So you could either draw the square and 2x plus 3, 2x plus 3 plus 2x plus 3. If you can throw the square and put 2x plus 3 on the top. Just like that. And you could really just add, each side is definitely the same. They're equal. And instead of adding 2x plus 3 plus 2x plus 3 plus 2x plus 3, you just multiply by 4, which would be an easier way of figuring out the prime, right? So 4 times 2x, sorry, that's my fault. 4 times 2x is 8x, and 4 times 3 is 12, and that's the prime. Right, and that's it. See you next time.